Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I am very excited about showing you how this solution will help transform your work experience by bringing simplicity and convenience to human capital management. With this solution, you will have instant access to all of your information from anywhere on any device. And with our analytical approach, you will gain visibility into your workforce data to make it easier to gather key metrics and predict workforce trends to make more informed decisions and allow you to operate your business more effectively. Let's take a look at all of this in action. Today, I would like to walk you through a typical employee's life cycle, starting from the recruitment and onboarding process. We will then explore how your employees can access their personal information through the Employee Self-Service Portal. Next, we will move into looking at some of the approval processes and reporting capabilities available in the system from more of a manager's perspective. And then finally, we will wrap up with the administrator's point of view, where we will run through the payroll process. With all that being said, allow me to pull up an example of our career landing page. Whether you choose to auto-post career opportunities onto various job boards, or you post directly to your company website, this is where your candidates will be directed to search and apply for those jobs. This career landing page will be branded with your logo and customized for your company. And this is where candidates will learn more about your organization. From this screen, your candidates can drill down into the job requisition that you've created, which will tell the candidate more about that particular position and allow them to apply for that job. Today, candidates are not looking to complete a paper application, nor do they want to log in to a computer to apply for a job. They are looking for an easy and convenient application process. Not only are they able to search for a job from their phone, but they can also complete the entire application from their mobile device as well. Now you can determine what information you would like to collect from your candidates. We have a quick apply tool that requires minimal data to be collected from your candidates, or you can design a customized application process to gather the information that you're looking for. In this case, I'm going to log in as an existing user so that we can take a look at an application that's already been completed. As a new candidate completes their application, they will simply enter in their information using this application wizard on the left. Candidates have a couple of options for how to get their information into this online application. They can upload their resume, which can be parsed out onto the online application. They can also populate their application from their LinkedIn profile. Both options will populate their personal information, their work experience, and education into this application automatically. They can then continue editing their application by entering in their skills, their EEO information, and their references. Now keep in mind that this is a customizable application, which allows you to determine what information you want to collect from your candidates. You can mark certain fields as required, you can create custom fields, and you can ask knockout questions as part of this application process. These knockout questionnaires can be set up by the recruiter to help screen candidates based upon certain qualifications to determine who might be a good fit for this position. Once the candidate has completed their application, they can submit this to the hiring manager for review. Candidates also have access to a control center that will alert them of any pending tasks, such as participating in additional screenings or authorizing a background check. To ensure that you are hiring quality candidates, you may choose to facilitate background screenings as part of your hiring process. Once the hiring manager places an order for a background check, the candidate will then be asked to sign their background check authorization form. Candidates will be notified of these pending action items through a variety of different methods, including email or text notifications. Now let's take a look at how you can manage the recruitment process. To do this, we will log in as our company administrator and hiring manager. Now, when she logs in, she lands on her home page, which is her hub for all of the information she needs to see at a glance. She has quick access to common actions and reports, and these dashboards are completely configurable to give her better insights into managing her team, which will help guide smarter decisions. This will help her perform more effectively and really allow her to focus her time on more strategic components of her business. And she can access this information from any device given the mobile responsive design features. So Kathy doesn't miss out on good talent. She really needs to jump on these quality applicants as soon as they apply. So let's begin by taking a look at the recruitment dashboard. Here we can get an insight into how many open job requisitions we are looking to fill. We can also see how many candidates have applied to each one of these open positions and where each one of those candidates fall within the hiring process. We can use this applicants by job title graph to check out our applicants. And remember, all of the information captured from the candidate will flow into the applicant tracking system seamlessly to make for an easier evaluation. Here we have access to a resume search tool that will allow the user to type in certain keywords, such as a certain skill set or certification that they are looking for, and the results will be displayed here within this report. At the bottom of this report, we can see additional graphs to get insight into our recruitment efforts as a whole. We can use this applicants by job title chart to drill down and view our candidates for a particular position. Maybe we're interested in taking a look at the supervisor position. Now she can see all of the candidates who have applied for this specific job, and perhaps we're preparing for an upcoming interview and need to evaluate those candidates that are moving on to the interview stage of the hiring process. So we can use the hiring stages by position chart to get a deeper look into those candidates in the interview phase. From this report, we can also drill down into each one of these candidates to review their application, schedule interviews, and move them through the hiring process. Let's take Josh through the applicant tracking process. Here you can move the candidates through the defined hiring stages from the time the application was submitted all the way through the hiring process. And as candidates navigate through these different hiring stages, emails can be sent out to those candidates to inform them of where they stand within the hiring process. It looks like our candidate is currently in the interview stage, and as we prepare for this upcoming interview, we may want to check out his resume. So we can jump to his resume right here from this screen. And here you can evaluate his experience, credentials, etc. And once you're ready, you can add an evaluation questionnaire. This questionnaire can provide screening questions for the hiring manager to use throughout the interview process. The system also allows you to manage and schedule those interviews as well. The details around each interview will be stored here on the communication screen, and once the interview has been scheduled, you can easily email the candidate directly from here. Now, you have the option of drafting an email on the fly or selecting from one of our predetermined email templates. As you can see, I've created an email template that we can send to all of the candidates that move on to this phase of the interview process. When sending these emails, you can also send a meeting invitation to these candidates as well. Let's fast forward a little bit and say that we're looking to hire this candidate. When hiring a new employee, you will be prompted to select which position they are being hired for. Keep in mind that the system takes all of his information and pulls it into his new hire employee record. This includes his personal information, education, skills, trainings and certifications, EEO information, etc. Based upon the job that he is being hired into, his employee record will also be populated with the appropriate profiles and settings. This really eliminates that administrative burden when it comes to hiring a new employee. It's really just a matter of approving new hires rather than having to manually enter the new hires into the system. Now let's take a look at the onboarding process for our newly hired employee. Let's log in as Josh Bronson. Once Josh is hired into the organization, he can receive personalized announcements and notifications to let him know that he needs to download his mobile app and begin his onboarding tasks. Josh can access his employee self-service portal from any device, including his phone, and he will have the same user experience across the board. So this first screen that he comes to is his personal dashboard, where he has easy access to his employee self-service functionality. From here, he can clock in and out, he can enroll in his benefits, and he can access his historical payroll data. Let's get started by checking out the onboarding process for Josh. Here we have our onboarding checklist, which you can develop to help streamline the onboarding process for your employees. So let's take a look. Within each checklist, you can assign different tasks to different individuals. And as you can see, this onboarding checklist is displaying only the items that Josh is responsible for completing. You can include all of your new hire tasks within this checklist by creating electronic versions of each form. And keep in mind that because this employee has entered most of his personal information through his online application, these forms will already be populated with his data. First, you will notice that each item can be assigned a due date, which can trigger reminder notifications. In addition, you can define workflows to capture electronic signatures and complete forms to be routed to the appropriate individuals within the organization. You will notice that Josh is required to watch his new hire training videos. He can then review his handbook and sign the handbook authorization form. This also includes the government forms, which are kept up to date within the product. And within the electronic onboarding process, employees can complete their I-9 forms and withholding forms, and they can even add their own direct deposits. Once these forms are approved, the employee's personal information, including his withholdings and direct deposit information, will automatically be updated within the system based upon effective dating. Now let's take a look at how Josh will be able to enroll in his benefits. An employee can either enroll in their benefits for open enrollment or life change events throughout the year. In this case, we're going to begin the open enrollment process. We are first brought to this instruction screen, which can be configured to give your employees an idea of what to expect. We also have a re-enrollment option, which will allow employees to continue with their current coverage, or they can choose to review each benefit offering individually and make the selection that works best for them. For the medical insurance, you will notice that we are offering more than one type of benefit plan. Employees can view the details around each one of these plans to better understand each option. As you can see, this will allow the employee to review the cost of the premium, along with the copay information, the deductibles, and the max out-of-pocket cost. Now let's say that we want to compare multiple plans. In this example, we will select both of the employee-only options and which plan details we would like to compare. I'm going to select the employee contribution, the primary office visit, the individual deductible, and the max out-of-pocket limit. Now we can see a nice side-by-side comparison of the premiums, copays, deductibles, etc., so that we can make a more informed decision on which plan we should move forward with. Let's select the Aetna employee-only plan. We can then continue with the enrollment process for our next benefit plan. The same process will apply to this dental insurance. However, for every benefit plan, we also have the option of waiving the coverage. This time I will waive my dental insurance, and we are now required to provide a reason for waiving our coverage. So perhaps we currently have other coverage. Now let's move on to the life insurance election. Here we've set up a unit-based life insurance plan where employees can select their coverage amount by entering in the number of units that they will be electing. In this case, each unit has a value of $1,000. We can see here that 100 units or less is guaranteed, but it's possible to request more if the evidence of insurability form is provided. So let's see what happens if I enter in more than the guaranteed amount. Now the employee has the opportunity to upload a copy of their EOI form right from this screen. In addition, we are required to add a beneficiary for this life insurance plan. All of Josh's contacts are listed here for an easy selection. In this example, let's select his spouse. And in this case, his spouse will receive 100% of his life insurance benefits. Now it's time to review our final selections. This screen will allow employees to review and confirm their selections. And once confirmed, we should be ready to submit our request. As a last step in the process, we are asked to sign off on our benefit elections by using our electronic signature. Now our enrollment has been successfully submitted, and now our benefits will be carried through a workflow approval process. Now, there are a number of ways that employees can track their time within the system. We have a mobile app which allows employees to clock in and out and can restrict punches based upon location using geofencing restrictions. In addition, we can also work with a variety of different hardware devices, which range from simple swipe devices to biometric devices. And then, of course, employees can also track their time using the web portal as well. So let's take a look at how Josh can collect and manage his time. Here on the dashboard, I have this clock widget that will allow an employee to clock in or out or change cost centers throughout the day. So by clicking on the Change Cost Center button, I can then select which cost center I will be working in. As you can see, a list of cost centers appear for me to make my selection. So I will select a cost center and hit Save. And now a notification appears to acknowledge that this transaction happened successfully. Now I can see my recent punches for today, and I can take a look at my entire timesheet by clicking on the Recent Punch History. This will take me to today's time entries, but I can also check out my entire timesheet if necessary. I can also leave notes against my timesheet. For example, I can leave a note about an event that occurred on a particular day, and an email notification will be sent to my manager alongside of this note, prompting them to take any necessary action. I can also request a change to be made to my timesheet through a timesheet change request. Here I can request that time be added or modified onto my timesheet, and these changes will go through an approval process before going into effect. The system also allows employees to track additional information such as tips, mileage, and expense reimbursements. Here on the Extra Pay tab, we can submit a travel expense that occurred today. We will need to enter in the dollar amount for this expense. And in addition to simply tracking expenses, we can also upload a copy of this receipt for our manager to review as part of the timesheet approval process. Once approved, the extra pay will flow over into payroll. Now let's take a look at how an employee can request time off in this system. Right from his dashboard, he can access his time off request tool. First, let's check his available balances. Here we can see how much PTO we have available. Keep in mind that we can require an employee to have enough time accrued to accommodate this time off request. So let's put in a request for vacation. Using this calendar, employees can easily identify when they are currently scheduled versus not scheduled to work. This calendar will show any scheduled PTO or upcoming holidays as well. This insight helps employees as they are managing their time off. Now, to start our PTO request, we would simply select the date right here on the calendar. In this example, I'm going to select the last Friday of the month. And from here, we can start our request. We can decide if this is going to be a full day or a partial day of vacation. And as you can see, the date is populated based upon the date selected on the calendar. You may also enter in a comment for this request if necessary. Once ready, you can submit your request. Keep in mind that there is an optimized rules engine in place allowing you to set rules around how employees can take their vacation. So for example, you could set a rule to allow only a set number of employees to be out on a given day, and the system would create an error if there's not enough coverage. If you put in a time off request on a day that's not available, you will receive a warning message. So in this case, we are going to go ahead and submit the request anyway so that we can see what the manager's approval process will look like. Once this has been submitted, an email notification will alert the manager that this time off request has been submitted and is now ready for their review. Now, employees can have access to their historical pay statements right here from their dashboard as well. You can see that with this personalized solution, they are provided a countdown to their next payday. Employees have access to all of their historical payroll data right here from this screen. So here, our employee can see a high-level view of their pay statement, and if Josh wanted to see the copy of his actual pay statement, he would simply click right here on the Download Pay Statement button. This will pull up his pay stub displaying all of his earnings, his deductions, his taxes withheld, etc. And given that this system operates off of a single database, the pay statement would also provide timesheet details and accrual balances as well. In addition, right here on our dashboard, I have created a customizable menu with links to the areas of the system that this employee will use most frequently to provide for easier navigation. So using our favorites menu, the employee can view their schedule, they can make changes to their personal information, and we also have access to our W-2s right from here. All historical W-2s are easily accessible from this screen, and employees can consent to receive their W-2s electronically. After signing the consent, Josh would be notified when the W-2 is ready for his review. He can easily access his W-2s from here and download it as a PDF. Now let's take a look at the system from the manager's point of view. Let's log in as Paul to take a look at how our managers can utilize the system to help manage their workload. When Paul logs in, he has everything that he needs in order to better manage his employees right here at his fingertips. He can easily manage his day-to-day tasks with system-generated notifications and to-do lists. So let's begin by taking a look at some of the items that are pending Paul's review and approval. Paul can access his to-do items by clicking here on the mailbox icon located at the top of the screen. Any to-do item will trigger an email notification to the manager prompting them to take action. Here you can see the time off request that we submitted for Josh is displaying as a task on his to-do list. Remember, we can set rules around your time off policy, so by the time it reaches the manager's desk, it should be an easy approval. So let's go ahead and approve this time off request. As you can see, there is a reminder that there are no slots available. In this case, we will use our manager discretion to approve the request. Keep in mind that you can set up multiple levels of workflow based upon your business needs. And once this has been approved, the employee will receive a notification updating them with the status of their request, and this time off will be updated onto their timesheet accordingly. Now we can move forward with approving the timesheets. The manager can approve them all at once or on an individual basis, and once these timesheets reach final approval, they will be ready for payroll processing. There are checks and balances in place to flag any missing punches so that we can make sure that everything is correct before we send this to payroll. We can see here that our timesheet has a missing punch, and we can drill down into that timesheet to make the correction. Here we can see that the employee did not clock out at the end of the day. Perhaps they left early due to a family emergency and they forgot to punch. So let's go ahead and correct this punch. Keep in mind that the system is capturing all of these changes in an audit trail. We can capture who made the change, when the changes were made, the old value versus the new value, and which IP address the change was made from. In addition, notes can be left against a timesheet to provide additional information about why a change was made. So if there is ever a discrepancy, you can always look back to the audit trail to get a better understanding of what happened. Once you have finished correcting the missing punch, you can move forward with approving the timesheet. Now, our managers are looking for a tool that will give them visual insights into their team's operations, allowing them to view key metrics, analyze trends, and prompt them to take action when needed. So managers can also create custom dashboard reports to help give them that much needed insight as to what's going on within their department. Now, understanding that labor costs are one of the largest expenses that any company has to absorb, it's important that our managers get a good pulse on the labor associated within their team. So labor costs can be made up from many factors, including total hours worked, overtime pay, and even attendance plays a role. So that being said, we've created some analytics here on the time dashboard to get further insight into what makes up our labor expenses. And keep in mind that these charts that we see are customizable, and you can determine what type of metrics you would like to display here. I have created a chart that's showing us how many total hours were worked within each cost center for a defined date range. And one of the biggest reasons for unnecessary labor costs is overtime. So in order to better control overtime costs, you really need a tool that will give you instant visibility into your overtime so that you can quickly take action and cut those unplanned labor costs. Here I've created an approaching overtime report which can automatically alert management of those who have worked over a certain number of hours. Having this insight will allow you to be more observant of how your employees are spending their time and will ultimately help to prevent that unnecessary overtime from occurring. In addition, this dashboard provides tools to help understand where the majority of your overtime is coming from. You can monitor these overtime metrics so that you can see which cost centers have accrued overtime and which employees make up those overtime hours. You can evaluate these metrics to help make strategic business decisions by drilling down into these reports further. Now, to get better insight into where my overtime is occurring, I'm going to group this report by cost center. In addition, I can get more detail and analyze my overtime trends by changing the date range here at the top of the screen. You can change the filters to look for a specific pay period, a specific calendar range, or even a set date range. We can also filter this report for specific employees as well. So for example, I can use filters to see if this was an isolated occurrence or a reoccurring event. Is this a problem for one employee, or is this a problem across the entire team? Maybe managers need to spread out the workload, or maybe it's time for a new headcount. So as you can see, this solution will provide you with the insight and the tools that you need to help answer those questions and make those decisions. Now, when it comes to reporting, each report has ad hoc reporting features where managers can pull information into their reports as needed. The current columns that we have displayed within our report are listed here on the right, and on the left you can see a list of the available reportable columns. So let's do a search through our available columns to bring in the hourly pay. Now using these up and down arrows, we can decide where to display this column within our report. When we are happy with the placement, we can then apply these changes. We can now see that the hourly pay column has been added to our report, and once you have configured the report to your liking, you can then save those settings. When saving, you can also set this report as your default and share this report across other managers within your organization. You can also export this report as needed. You can export this report through one of the standard export settings as you can see here. You can also choose to have this report delivered right to your inbox for easy access. Managers can also create charts and visualizations based upon the metrics that are collected within this report to get further insight. Another way to help control our labor costs is by using a scheduling tool. Schedules and attendance go hand in hand. With schedules enabled, you can keep better track of your employees' attendance. On the team dashboard, I have created some additional analytics to really take a deeper look into the attendance issues across my team. Attendance is so important when it comes to managing your team because poor attendance by one employee means someone needs to pick up their slack or the team will suffer. And this could be the cause of some of your overtime costs. Using the attendance status chart, you can see who's in the office or out of the office at any given point throughout the day. On this dashboard, you can also flag any missing punches, absences, tardiness, or folks that have left early. These attendance issues will trigger an email notification to management so that they are aware and they can take any necessary action. You can hold your employees accountable for their attendance by automating the disciplinary process or offering incentives for perfect attendance, all of which can be tracked here within the system. I hope you were able to see that when it comes to managing your workforce, this solution will allow you to get the insights you need by providing the tools to help you better manage your team, control your labor costs, and allow you to make more strategic business decisions. Now let's take a look at the administrator's responsibilities. Compliance plays a key role when it comes to the foundation of HR management, and it appears consistently throughout the employee's life cycle. So for example, this includes managing leave of absences, managing ACA, understanding workers' comp, and understanding labor laws, just to name a few. The system will allow her to automate these processes and ensure compliance so that she can focus on the moments that matter to the employee's experience and the success of her company. Things like recruitment, benefits, and performance management. And Kathy needs a central location to manage all of this information. We can use analytics to really help visualize those moments that impact the organization's success. For example, we can use the benefits dashboard to check on the status of the electronic benefit enrollment process across the organization. Here on the to-do list, she has visibility into the tasks that are pending her review and approval. This is where she can approve any new benefit requests as they come through. Once approved, the benefit selections will be saved against the employee's record, and the payroll deductions will automatically be created based upon effective dating. Also, we have an integration that will provide carrier connection services. This will automatically send the carriers any updates to help alleviate the manual benefit administration process. In addition, she can also participate in the performance review cycle from her to-do list as well. When it comes to performance evaluations, we want to make it as easy as possible to conduct your reviews. So we are able to automate the review cycle by eliminating your paper-based forms. And you can custom build your performance reviews electronically to match your business strategy. So let's begin by taking a look at this sample review. Now, this review is auto-initiated based upon your review frequency. So for example, you can create quarterly reviews or annual reviews to evaluate your employees' growth and performance to ensure that they are contributing to the success of the business. And as we dig into this review further, you will notice that we have defined our measurable objectives with a clearly defined rating scale to assess our employees fairly. This evaluation is reviewing the employees based upon their core values, their competencies, and their goals, with the employees' goals carrying the most value. Now, we were assigned the task of completing this employee's review. Keep in mind that these review workflows are completely configurable, meaning that you can define who will be participating in this review process for each employee. Before we can complete this review, we may want to pull some metrics around this employee to make sure that we are providing a fair evaluation. So let's take a look. The Talent Dashboard is an excellent place to display key metrics that will aid me in the evaluation process. You can create and display charts on your dashboard to gain better insight into the health of your company and to understand how your employees are performing. So first, I want to draw your attention here to the pie chart. This chart is allowing me to keep track of the entire review process across the company, and I can see details around how many reviews are in progress versus how many reviews are finalized, etc. Keep in mind that there are automated system-generated notifications to remind those participating in the review process of upcoming due dates. Now, one big factor when developing your performance strategy is to define goals that will align the entire organization for success. So you can create company-wide goals, team goals, and individual employee goals that can all be documented and managed within the system. So right here on our dashboard, we have a chart displaying the goals that have been assigned to our employees. And we can use this chart as a launching point to gain deeper insight into the status of these goals. Keep in mind that goals can be assigned to employees throughout the year and can be clearly communicated to the employees to ensure understanding and commitment. So let's go ahead and dive into one of our personal goals for our employee. Now, goal tracking allows you to stay on top of employee development. You can use this tool to encourage employees to achieve a new skill or work towards a new accomplishment or even enroll in a new training program. And goals can be used to motivate employees to grow within the organization by giving them new opportunities to feel valued. Now, employees can access these goals within their employee self-service portal as well, where they can update the status of the goals themselves. And using this note section, they can communicate their achievements to their manager. This enables management to continuously monitor employee goals and encourages managers to deliver ongoing coaching or feedback throughout the year. These goals can then be automatically tied directly to the employee's performance review so that their achievements can be scored as part of their overall evaluation. In addition to goal tracking, throughout the year you can capture additional key metrics to aid you in evaluating your employees' performance. So for example, you're able to keep track of employees' disciplinary incidents, awards or recognitions, trainings and certifications, etc. So let's take a look at how these metrics can be accessed during the employee's evaluation process. So we're going to get started by taking a look at the Learning Dashboard. Tracking training increases compliance levels, accountability, and productivity for every level of the organization. So here on the Learning Dashboard, we can get insight into what trainings and certifications have been completed by the employees for this review cycle. Not only are we able to see who has completed these training courses, but we can also be alerted of any upcoming expirations. These automated notifications help managers stay on top of employee development and encourages individual growth within the organization. Also, during this review cycle, employees can be evaluated for their dependability. Remember, through our timekeeping solution, you are able to easily keep track of attendance issues, and once attendance thresholds have been reached, the system will automatically create an incident to document these attendance issues. So let's take a look at how we can manage those incidents. Here under the HR dashboard, we have charts that help us identify incidents across the organization. Incident tracking will help you identify areas for improvement within your organization. This could reflect attendance issues, safety concerns, and disciplinary or performance violations. Not only are you able to track poor performance within the system, but you're also able to keep track of employees' achievements, such as positive recognitions or awards earned by the employee. We can drill down into these items directly from these charts to access additional details around each incident. Now I have this report grouped by employee so I can see all of the incidents associated with each one of these individual employees. So let's dig into one of these incidents to take a deeper look. Within each incident, you are able to keep track of the details, including any notes or comments left by the manager, as well as a decided upon resolution. These documented incidents can play a huge role in the overall evaluation of an employee. So now that we've evaluated our employees' performance, it's time to go through the review process. So let's access our to-do list once again. From here, let's open up our review again. Here, managers can input their rankings and any additional comments for each one of these review objectives. Once the feedback has been completed, this review can be submitted and will then be ready for finalization. Now, we happen to also be responsible for the finalization process as well, and we would have received a notification to alert us that this review is pending finalization. Here, I can easily complete the finalization process. When we look at the final ranking, you will notice that it's taking into account all of the different variables to determine the final weighted average for this review. And as the last step of this review cycle, increases are typically awarded to the employees for their hard work. Pay increases can be entered during the finalization process, and those increases will go into effect based upon the effective date defined. As you can see, performance management helps you establish expectations to encourage employees to follow company policy and improve the company's overall business performance. This tool will help with measuring and monitoring those expectations, which can lead to increased productivity across your employees. In addition to managing an employee's performance, administrators might also need to manage other components of the employee's life cycle. Not only is this where managers can hire or terminate employees, but this is where they can access the employee record as well. Because this is one single database, the employee record pulls components of timekeeping, HR, and payroll into a single centralized file for easy access. Here we have quick access to the employee's timesheets, their pay statement history, their schedules, etc. Also from here, we can easily access Josh's employee record. Now, the employee record can be organized based upon how you are using the system and is scalable based upon security settings. We can display the items that you are tracking or need additional visibility into. So for example, here on this main tab, we have visibility into our employees' personal information, their contact information, their compensation, and their accrual balances. Under the HR tab, we can access the forms that our employees have completed. We can track any HR-related items included completing trainings, incidents, and workers' claims. And you also have the ability to create custom fields to track anything that is unique to you. We would access our payroll tab to make payroll adjustments for our employees. This can include updating deductions, tax withholdings, and direct deposits. Remember, we can automate these manual adjustments by allowing our employees to initiate some of these changes through their employee self-service portal using an HR action request. Once those changes have been submitted and approved, the employee's personal information will automatically be updated against their employee record using effective dating. This means it will automatically be updated for the appropriate payroll with little intervention from the payroll administrator. That being said, Kathy is also responsible for payroll processing. On the payroll dashboard, she can use these functional charts to drill down into her payroll information. Remember, you can determine what metrics are important to display here on your dashboard. So here we have a chart that is giving us insight into our payroll trends over a period of time. We also have a chart showing us labor distribution across different cost centers. And using our open payrolls chart, she can easily see which payrolls need to be processed. We can now drill down into our current payroll. And with this solution, payroll doesn't have to be a complex process. The payroll processing screen is logically laid out to define every step of the process in a checklist type of format, outlining a clear, easy process for the administrator to follow. The first step that we have here is to go to the time prep process. This helps the administrator make sure that all of the timekeeping data is ready for payroll processing. We will verify that all of our timesheets have been approved and that there aren't any errors being flagged. Once this process has been complete, we can easily get back to our payroll process. Syncing the time will put all of the timekeeping data into a batch for our payroll processing. So let's take a look at a batch. This is the screen that the payroll administrator would use to review the payroll data, and if necessary, they can make any manual overrides directly from this screen. As we are editing this data, we want there to be checks and balances in place to prevent overpayment. So we have the concept of payroll alerts, which can be set up globally or on an individual basis. These alerts will require a sign-off to ensure that nothing gets overlooked during the payroll process. A global alert might be set up to flag when an employee is being paid more than a certain dollar amount, while an individual alert would be set up to remind the user of something that needs to be done on that particular payroll. From the batch, you can identify if there is a payroll alert when the alert icon is displayed. To view the alert, we will simply click on the icon. And in this case, an individual alert has been set up to remind us to enter in a bonus for this employee. Notice that this alert does require sign-off, so without signing off on this alert, we will not be able to submit our payroll for finalization. So that being said, let's go ahead and mark this alert as complete. And now we can enter the bonus into the batch. To enter this bonus, we can keep the bonus on the same pay statement as the regular earnings, and the system is intuitive enough to tax the regular earnings at the regular tax rate, while it taxes the bonus at the supplemental rate, allowing you to keep everything on one check. We also have the option of creating a second check for this bonus. So now we've created a second line where we can enter the bonus under the bonus column. We also need to change the pay statement type to reflect this second check. So let's change this to a bonus check. Now with these different pay statement types, we can set different rules. So for example, when we pay out a bonus, maybe we want to block all of the deductions and issue the pay statement as a live check. So let's save and update our payroll to save those changes that we just made. As the batch is saved and updated, calculations are being applied in real time, so we can review those pay statements and run any payroll reports without the need for the traditional pre-process. So if we took a look at this pay statement that we just created, you will notice that this pay statement has not yet been finalized. The bonus that we entered is displaying here on the pay stub. And we can take a look at how this bonus will affect the taxes which are being calculated in real time. Our system uses geospatial technology to determine what taxes should be applied. So it will look at where the employee works and where the employee lives to determine the appropriate tax calculations. And it is intuitive enough to calculate down to the local taxes, as well as considering the reciprocity agreements between states in regards to taxes. This means you do not need to worry about assigning tax codes because the system automatically applies the appropriate taxes for each employee. So once everything's ready to go, we can close our batch and head back to the payroll checklist. Next, we need to make sure that all of our payroll alerts have been reviewed before we can close and submit our payroll. So at this time, we are ready to close our payroll, and if there were any errors, they would be flagged as part of this step. Now, at any time during the payroll process, you have access to your payroll reports. So let's begin by taking a look at our payroll register. The information that we are looking at here on this payroll register is pulling from the payroll in its current state. Remember, we can look at this report even before the payroll has been closed, and we can see all of these calculations happening in real time for each pay statement. Now let's take a quick look at the general ledger summary. Keep in mind that the GL can be formatted based upon your accounting software specifications. And as I shared earlier, there are several different export formats that are available, including Excel and even QuickBooks. The last report that I'd like to take a look at today is the Payroll Recap and Funding Report. Here we can see an overview of the entire payroll, including the total number of paid employees. We can see the total check amount and the total direct deposit amount. You can also take a look at your tax liabilities and vendor payments, as well as taking a look at your total cash requirements. This report includes a high-level GL summary, and we have insight into our payroll comparison reporting. So let's go back up to our payroll prep checklist. And after the payroll has been reviewed and closed, the payroll can be submitted for finalization and delivery. So with that, we have concluded our demonstration today. I hope that you guys are able to walk away with a good understanding of how this system can help enhance your user experience from hire to retire. Thank you for your time, and please contact us today for more information.